Good evening. All right, so I think I know where I've narrowed it down where the problem is for this rating setup. So uh, here's Champ Bailey from 2009, because he's playing in 2009 still. You see, he's got plenty of defensive stats. These are his skill ratings. They're just the numbers don't matter. I mean, they do, but they're not going to be. I mean, don't worry about the numbers. Uh, they need to go into this rating. And what's interesting is I got ratings. A lot of the default ratings are valid. That's what a lot of these are. Things that he doesn't actually do, so they get these default ratings. They're the low values. Um, or a calculated value like speed, which is fine. Um, what I have here, you see I have pass defense, which should have a value. He has defensive values, and tackling, which is again a valid value for him. He's got stats that go with those. He's got a tackling skill. He's got a pass defense skill, and those things need to be um, set up. It's not transferring into the player, so I think the problem is that when this ratings salary is called, it's not check. Well, okay, one of the problems is that when the scale changes, it's not readjusting. And so the first time in, everybody's getting like just an infinity value or a non-valid value, because that could be in or out, or they're not getting a valid scaling, and everything's kind of broken. Now, I don't know if it's just Champ Bailey, but I think he might be going first, so he gets messed up. And I think it could be messing up for others. So I'm going to try to implement. Um, I'm going to try to implement a fix here. Well, I'm going to have AI do it. I'm going to have AI put a wrapper around these lines. It's basically the same thing I did in other. There is create. Let's go to. Let's go. I'm going to actually save everything here done because everything is important. But I have a function called create system players, which is actually in main here. And I might be able to just copy this. Create system players. It's a lot of logging, but then eventually it goes down and makes the call. And there is a wrapper. So the first thing we do is this, and then we do ensure source player ID mapping, and then we go get control modifiers, team fetch player status, get update scaling values, create system players, set player skill ratings, set overall ratings and salary. Okay, so this is the one. Up here, when it runs on all the players to get their skills defined, step process all players to create normalized stats, calculate skills. Okay, so this one has these attempts that it is actually doing a timestamp, and I'm going to do something similar to that on this one here. Let's see. Let's close this. I probably don't need it. All right, so we're going to take this timestamp, and then we're going to go. Let's actually split this screen here, and then let's get rid of that. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and then we're going to go down here to set overall players. So I'm going to basically implement the same thing. Thing is, I'm wondering if I want to do it. Did it go away? Okay. I think I might want to do it within the function if possible first, because I don't see any reason. But I wanted to. All right, so let's see if I can implement this within the code of this, which is right here. Okay, so I want to put a wrapper around these guys. We're going to put this timestamp on here. Let's see. Do I want to do a max? Sure, we'll do it the same way. For attempt, a safety. Nah, I was going to say do while or something that's like a loop until it does it, but it's probably a little risky. So we'll say attempt. They have max calcs. We'll say 3. I don't need. I mean, I think max calcs here is 4. I don't think I'm even going to need 3, to be honest, but we'll give it a chance to. I don't know what scenario would have it go through a second time, but we will. I think. Yeah, it's just closing it off here, and then I have to do this. I have to do this test. Get latest scaling update. Stable pass. No scaling changes after we started this pass. Get latest scaling update. What is that? I might be able to use this function. Let's go ahead and try that. And oh, wait, didn't I put pass start? Oh, wait a minute. What did I put that? Oh, did I put it inside here? Where did I put it? I thought, wait a minute, I could have swore I put this down. Oh, maybe I just grabbed that. All right, well, let's put this in. All right, so we're going to go ahead. So this is basically checking the time. It's going to use it to make sure that we don't have. This is testing against my scaling values table, which is what I use to scale all the players in various ranges to make sure everything kind of falls within the zone, the ranges I need it to. And then when I have this test, it's going to check to see if we have a good pass. Now, if we succeed and it's like nothing changed, we'll break. But what should happen is the first time through, we're going to, players are going to set these ranges and then we break out. So let's go ahead and make sure I do a log. I think let's go ahead and do this too. I'm going to copy all this stuff. I don't like copying it. I feel like it's the redundancy. I feel like there's something I need to do to have this process be, kind of like encapsulated into one thing. Do a scaling test or something like that. Let's see what we got here. I'll just say 3. Because I'm not gonna. It's never gonna change. I don't even think it should. If it has 3, it's too many, honestly. 2 is normal. A third one is there's something wrong. We should not, because what's happens is all the players run through. They adjust the scales according to the biggest and the smallest, and only the biggest and the smallest ones are going to move the scales. So the next time through, nobody should be moving the scales because it's already set. There's nowhere else, and everybody can get scaled within their proper range. So I think this will actually give everybody a better result. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see if I'm right. So we're going to let this go through here. And then what does this do? Length. Scaling values updated during full pass. Changed. Another one? Oh, that's the listing. Is that actually a parameter on here? Huh. Init, rebuild here. I don't know where that is, honestly. Where is this? It says optionally, but I don't see where the optional part is. Hey, Karama, you're back. Hey, dude. You studying? You doing your due diligence? I've pinned down, I think, let's just put it this way. I found a problem. I don't know if it's the problem, but I found a problem. I think it could be the problem. It's definitely causing a problem. I just don't. So I'm trying to fix it right now. I don't know why it says optionally. Scaling changes. Optionally log what changed. Why is that optional? If length changed. I don't know why that's optional. Okay, and I don't know what this one's doing. Length changed greater than 0. Why are we getting double log? Is it like logging 2 things? Scaling values updating your full change. Scaling values updating your full pass. All players. I guess one is just the list of them, and then the other one is the... Yeah, I don't know why we have 2. I feel like it's the same thing. I guess the only difference is this is if attempt equals max calcs, and this is us just giving up. So this is the scenario under which the... okay, so this is what happens only when we're at the max. I still feel like it's redundant. I tend to like to be creative with my text and not create double logs. Like, see if I could... I don't know. Just put like an extra line in here. It just says max tries reached. Because really, it's the same thing. It just says max recalcs reach right here. That's all I need. I just need to put this in. Nothing else. So I could do something like... I don't know, I just feel like it's double logging, and it's like I'm sitting here going, well, why are these after... I don't know. I don't like it. If I really want to see this, this is the one that matters. I don't want to... Let's just see if I can... I might try to figure out how to optimize that. I don't like doing the same thing in 2 places. It feels... Ugh. It's not good coding. Just feels not right. Okay, so the loop is if that, and then we break out if it's that. Okay, so that should work, and we'll see what happens. I didn't realize, I didn't know that. I guess I don't remember. I do this a lot, where I can actually call this directly. I don't have to do the rest of it. So we're going to say go run dash, and the function is called I think I can do this. Guess we'll find out. It'll probably tell me what I'm doing wrong, but let's see here. Flag provided but not defined. Oh, it's not a flag? Oh. All right, what am I doing wrong? Oh, go run dot. Whoops. Oops. Well, I guess I'm not fully, I don't fully have this down here. All right, so max recalcs. Where is max recalcs at? Oops, wrong one. Where did I put max recalcs at? Where are you at? Ah, there you are. That's why it did it this way. All right, so I'm going back. Only because I now see why it did it. I was just going to do hard-coded because I might define it, but now I am of the opinion that it was right. Right. Errors. Errors. What do you mean errors? Errors? No stinking errors. All right, we still got some errors here. What are we doing? Unexpected if. Oh, wait, what? Didn't I just... Okay. That was weird. All right. Completed successfully, it says. Not a lot of feedback. What's also a problem is it didn't loop. I would have expected it to loop because the scaling values should not be correct. Yeah, that don't feel right. Why didn't it loop? Plus, I thought I put in a catch-all for corners. Should have got a message. Because I wanted to see... So whatever my code was that's supposed to be hitting corners did not... Okay, that's fine. I do have position here. Did I not put in a log? Oh, I did. Okay, so let's put in a log here. So I got position, which is coming from players by position. Second pass, sort players by position, determine release status, then update with salaries. this thing, cursor.next. Calculate overall rating for all players. So we're going to get base position. Calculate total of all skills for this player. Player rating. How do we know who this player is? I'm trying. Oh, all skills. Player. Base position, player dot position. Okay. If right logs if player dot position CV, and let's get the whole thing in there. And then we're going to do log.print player dot name player. Let's just do this one. Champ Bailey. Scale. Let's see. Player rating total is player name, player rating total. Okay, so there should be, hopefully, does he have a name? Or do we not bring in their name? Oh, we're only bringing in ID? Boo! Why am I only bringing in? Why does it not have a name? Could probably get the name. But cursor.next player struct interface. I don't know where this is coming from though. I have to go look, and I have a feeling it's coming from a source I don't have. So I will just be good and go with player ID. Okay, so we got probably supposed to be an F. All right, do I want to print anything else with that? I have this player rating total. I want to put the scale values in, just so I can see what it's building here. And what skill am I working on? Past defense skill. Do I know what skill we are working on? Overall position rating. It's the overall. Oh, it's the overall. Oh, you know what? That's not going to work. We're scaling a little bit. Dang, I don't know if I... This is not pass defense skill. Pass defense skill is the one that's broken. This is the overall. I mean, overall's fine, but it's not going to give me what I need. I do need to scale it, so that is required. But I'm actually thinking I'm looking at the wrong... I'm looking at the wrong piece. Dang it. Because it's the individual skills. Pass defense that I need to look at. Not the overall. Overall is, yeah, it's a thing, but it's being affected by the broken stuff. And this is not, I don't know why I didn't, what was I thinking there, man? What were you thinking, Ken? What are you calling this one for? That's not the problem. Problem is player skill ratings. These are the ones I need. All right, process all players. I feel like there's a way to do this for other things. Because I don't want to have to write the same thing. How can I do this? It just seems inefficient. Let's see if AI can give me an idea here. I don't like inefficiency in code. It bothers me. Wrapper. Checks if scale values change during the player loop. It needs to loop again. You can see how it is implemented in the service.go file. Create system players starting on line 108. Starting on line 108. There could be what I could do, which isn't pretty, but it could function correctly. Not a huge fan of this idea, but it might work. Create a function that calls these functions based on a value. So I can say, I don't know, like we can say base skills. What is this one called? How does self-edit create normalized stats? Oh. It's not really stats, this is skills, but whatever. So let's try it. Let's try creating a function. I'm going to do it. Let's go. We're going to go over here and create, we're going to go down to utility here. And I think this is even where my scale functions exist. Scale value to max, which I don't use. That's a different scale, but scale value to range. Now we're going to do function scale value scale players wrapper. I feel like there's got to be a better way, a better name for that. Scale players wrapper. I'll have to put a comment of some kind on it. But what it's going to have to do is I have to pass in what this needs to run, which is going to be everything that it does here. So we have this. That's just the attempts. We're basically going to have all of this. Skills calculated. Actually, I don't think. I think I just want. Nope, it has to be the full wrapper. Oh, that's a problem. It has to be the full wrapper, which doesn't. Players process, players with skills, scat categories. I need all of these. I need source stats. System players, process players. Scaling change during this pass. Wait. I'm so confused. Oh, I was going to put a wrapper on it, but I'm starting to feel like I need to pass too much junk in. I just wanted to, I want to be able to pass in, because it's this process here, right? This is the only piece I really need. But because this is weird, the way they do this. This is an initializer. So it says players process 0, players with skills 0. And then it sets categories and those that are calculated. And then all right, let's go see what this is doing. Get latest scaling update. Go to definition. Returns the most recent last updated timestamp across all scaling values. If the collection is empty or an error occurs, it returns 0 time. Okay, so that's exactly what I wanted. It's just, all it's doing is checking to see if anything changed in the scaling, which is fine. And this just goes and gets the ones that changed, which is fine, which is all good. I can do all this in my function, but it's this stuff that's different. that's throwing me off. So I did this. Oh, come on, stop it. All right, so we go here. I want to see what I did here. So I may have done something wrong. Because see, I did this test for it before I actually did the run. I think this has to happen here. So it does all of its stuff. And then it runs the checks on the scaling. But the timestamp comes first. I just wish there was a better way. I feel like and latest stable pass, no scaling changes. Okay, so we can go check for scaling changes. I could probably capture all this stuff into one thing. I don't think I want to pass the processing. I think all I want is that get latest scaling values, and we'll put the wrapper on it, which will just run. So all I would need to do is pass in the time and I would need to pass in the time and if we are on the last attempt. So we can try attempts based on, yeah, let's try that. Time and last attempt, I think, is all I need. What is this thing doing? So if I do that and I call my function, we'll call, where's utility at? Utility's here. Put that over here. And I have my broken, let's get rid of that, that's not the thing. Scale to max, scale value to range, scale wrapper. Okay, so scale wrapper. So I would need to pass in context, which is context.context. So we'll go context.context. And we'll just call that CTX because that's what it is. And then we need pre-loop time, which would be time. Time, sure. And what else did I say? Oh, is last try full. Okay. And we will return status is Google. Like that. And then in here, we will actually put all of this. And it'll be scale players wrapper. Scale players wrapper. I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to go CTX, pass start, and attempt. Very good. Figured out that much. And then for latest, we're going to go no, we're going to say clean pass. I'm going to say if clean pass break. That works. Oops. Dang it. There you go. What else do I need? Else. Nope, nope. What are you doing? It's supposed to be else if. What did it say? Oh, what is that doing? What are you doing? Oh, I see what's going on. Stop it. What is going on? Stop it. Why are you being a jerk? Why are you like adding extra things? It's like I take one out and it puts one in. All right, stop it. Okay. AI, I tell you, or gets ahead of you. All right, so that's foo. Clean pass. Else if no, what is it? All I want to do is say attempt +1. Wait, I think it's equal +1. What am I doing? Oh, you know what? What am I doing? I don't need to do that. Never mind. I don't know what I'm getting ahead of myself. Never mind. That should be fine. I think it should auto increase, right? Attempt. Because that's the 4. It's going to keep looping. Never mind. Okay. So we got our 3 values. 1, 2, 3 loop time. What is the problem? Scale player go undefined scale. Oh yeah, I haven't saved this yet. Okay, so we'll save this, but so we have our pre-loop time, which we will pass in, and this should be, I guess, latest. And this is pre-loop time. so what do we got? We got everything through, got past start. Past start is preloop time. And then we just say is last try. Right there. And I don't know why we even need to put the time in, to be honest. It seems kind of silly, but okay. I may have to pass one more value in here. I was just thinking I only needed to check for if it's the last try to do the special messaging. But then I can't keep track of how many times it has tried, which would be kind of lame. No. Okay. And then we will go, let's just say return. Return true. This one will be return false. Wait. All right, that's fine. Then we do this, and then we say attempt. Scaling values updated during full pass, recalculating all players. Attempt plus 1. We don't know what the last try is. I'll just, I'm not gonna, I don't care. I should take that out. All because I wanted to do it that way, and I'm being kind of stubborn with this, but whatever. And then we will take this out. There's only 3 tries, or however many tries I try, but it'll just... I shouldn't do it that way, which means I gotta go... Oh, God. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. But I'm gonna do it. It's not good. It's just... I'm being... I don't know, man. It's just, why do I do this to myself? Is it laziness? Is it laziness that makes me do it? A laziness that doesn't make me do it? I don't know. But either way, I'm causing myself consternation. And I hate these duplicating log messages. They feel bad. They feel bad. I know I'm a person who likes to take all of the common words and turn them into a single string and then just append the extra stuff, because it just looks, it's just so redundant. Like scaling values updated. Okay, so I can do something like during update. Let's do this. I have to. I have to. I know this is the kind of thing. Just I don't know why it bothers me, but it does. So we're gonna say base message equals during update. And then we're going to take this. Oops, did that right. Now we're going to take it in here. We're going to do the same thing here. A little cleaner. I still think this is a lot of extra garbage, but whatever. It's better. It's less words. Max. I don't need this. Max. Max attempts using last results. You know, honestly, it's going to use the last results, but I feel like it's probably shouldn't even use last results. Max attempts. See, then this is the same thing. It's the same message. Oh, I hate that. There's got to be a way to do this in a way that's not so crappy. I hate the duplication. Because it's exactly the same. You can't, the problem is Go doesn't have, you can't do inline conditionals in Go. That's the problem. Normally I would build this with an inline conditional, some kind like, you know, if this, then that, you know, but you can't do that. So it's using this multi-line thing, which is basically duplicating the whole thing, and it bugs the heck out of me. I hate duplication. It's an, I don't know if it's an OCD problem of mine. I don't know what it is. It's probably not great that I have this issue with such trivial things, but I don't know. It is what it is. All right. We will try this guy and see if this works. So we're going to go Control S here. And then I'm going to go back to the service.go, and we're going to see about taking out what happened here. What is your problem? You still have a problem? No problem? Okay, gotta make sure, because I can't have so we're going to basically do the same thing right here. There we go. That looks better. That looks cleaner. I hope. I hope it works better. Hope I didn't break anything, because I'm going for it. I am going for it because I need it to be the way I want it. All right. Now, I need to do this for the skills, which are called before that. Import players, test features. set player skill ratings. That's the one. Now we're going to go into you. He does the exact same thing. So we pass the player pool, get latest scaling update, and then I have to put in a bunch of junk. I have to wrap this puppy up. Process all players. Oh, that's down here. And then we have to go like this. And I have to put in this right above it. Get the timestamp of the most recent scaling value update before this run. Oh. Oh, wait, what? Oh, it's already doing this. So we're gonna, I'll just put this here then. And this one goes right there. And we will say attempt, we'll do the same thing here. I am going to put in two, I don't know why it only has, this one's just going to keep going until it works. Didn't seem to have a, doesn't have a real stopper. I feel like that is not that is not great. All right, so we're going to put, we have attempt, we have max calcs. We don't have CTX on this one. Why don't we have CTX? There is a context here. Context, get latest scaling update. CTX is context, right? What is... Oops, nope. Go away. All right, we're going to go over here. Go find where we're calling this guy. We're here. CTX. Guessing it's passed in again. Where's it identified? Oh, it is right here. Where? Oh, somewhere. Oh, there it is. Background. Yeah. Let's just go like that. And then we'll just use this guy right here. All right. Did I solve it? Did I finish? Got it. All right, so player skill ratings is supposed to be running through this. This will also tell me when something changed. And it's skill ratings that I want to check on. So I should be able to... what is the player pool coming in as, though? It's coming in as... What are the values in that puppet? I need the values because I can't read my ratings. Help. What are the values in the it's just the player pool, whatever's in the player pool. Which is, I know there's position in the player pool, so I should be able to do dop. I'm not sure why not. Okay, so let's see. We're going to add to the skill ratings. Oh, stop it. Stop it. Set player skill ratings. Okay, we're going to also do right. Oh, we're going to say true for now because that's the one I want. And then we're going to go here. We're going to say write logs pool. And then we're going to say if write logs I don't need to do that, but we will say player pool writing or generating player dot name. Oops, generating player pool dot name player stats player skill ratings, and then we're going to go all right, fine. Then we're going to go if player pool dot position equals CB. This is probably going to be capital too because it's being jerked that way. Nope. It's not position. All right, go to definition. What is this? Whatever this is passing in, it's not working. So what is, it's the player pool collection. Why can't I get that then? How's it being referenced in here? Player pool. Oh, it's pulling stuff off of it. It's creating a player object that it can work with. Oh, okie dokie. So player pool.find cursor, and then the cursor is everybody who's, I don't know. It's just basically pulling all the players into the cursor, and then the cursor goes and runs, and then we're like, okay, for cursor.next, it's running through the cursor. Oh. Oh. This is not as okay, so this is not as going to be as straightforward as I had hoped. But I do need to create a struct, and then I need to decode into my struct. And I guess if I do this and it decodes, it'll decode into the ones I want based on the IDs I'm pulling, which means if I want to do a log that's going to let me see the players, dang. Well, that's a pain. If I want to be able to track the players or even log anything about the players, I need to decode it, because it's not going to let me just read this stuff. So if I want to do this, So I'm passing in player pool, but if I want to read some of the player pool, I have to do this thing. Which means if I want to do that, it's bson name. Position. Name. Position. Is there anything else I want? This is just a string. I don't need skill ratings. No, and I have to define cursor. Okay. Stop it. I didn't ask you to. If I wanted that, I would have put it in. Stop trying to make me put stuff in. You know what? I'm not going to let this break for this. So we're just going to go. Else if. And we'll just put this on here. Oh no, that doesn't work. That's not going to work. No, that doesn't work. Never mind. Because I need this information. If this fails... Alright, I have to say if... error. Anyway, let's try that. Not error in position. Okay. No, I guess I could have done else if. What am I thinking of? Because if it passes, there's no error. That means it decoded it. But it's in an if statement, which is so weird. That is really weird. I didn't even know you could do that. I'm learning stuff. I'm like, whoa, wow, that's cool, man. I didn't know you could even do that. So it's basically decoding it as it reads it, which is kind of cool. I didn't even notice it was doing that, but yeah, so an if error, if I want to read my my messages like it's doing in here, the Krillionaire. Oh, are you serious? Whatever, dude. What is that? You starting to spam me? What does it have to do with anything? Yeah, well, it doesn't have anything to do with my channel, so why would you be posting it? You could, I understand why you might have got banned for that. Really? I don't, I don't see. I mean, it's just I don't know. Really, is that even a quote from Yu-Gi-Oh? I mean, why would you? I guess I never really watched it much. I I don't understand why that would even be a thing. A quote from an edit. Hmm. Okay. Well, just you know. Um, I am currently working on a football game, and I'm trying to right now. I'm trying to figure out the scaling for the various skills and stats that I need to run through this. I'm finding a couple players aren't getting their rating set, so I'm trying to pin down why. But in order to do that, I have to figure out the best way to mark this log. Don't know anything about football, huh? This is American football, by the way, not soccer. Oh, okay. Then you then you know the football I'm talking about. But yeah, I could see. I'm probably learned more about football writing this football game. I thought I knew a lot about football, but um, as I'm writing this game, I'm learning way more about the intricacies of all the stats and stuff because I'm building all the players based on actual stats. So I have to get the stats in and then build the ratings off of them and then process them into my teams, which is what I'm working on right now. I've got all the skills built, but some of the ratings that are built off of those skills aren't functioning. So that's what I'm working on. And I just got to figure out why certain things are not working like I expect them to. Like this one. All right, so we're going in here. What did I do wrong? So it is if error. So that doesn't set anywhere. But that opens the cursor. Because we're in a cursor. Which doesn't help me any. I'm not in a cursor. Dang. Well, I guess I could be in a cursor. How are we processing? So we are passing the player pool, but I don't know if I want to go through every one. Oh, I see the problem. I'm putting the I'm putting the logs in the wrong place. That's the problem. That's the problem. Well, you can you can touch the ground just fine. Just don't do it with your hands and knees. Don't go to the ground or don't fall to the ground. Yes, football fans are very loud, especially if they're avid. It can be pretty nuts. Yeah, I get it. I mean, my kids aren't football fans either. I mean, two of them have a passing interest, but it's kind of like they'll ask me how my team is doing because hey, how are they doing? They make the playoffs. Are they doing good this year? But they don't watch games. To be honest, I haven't watched nearly as many games as I'd like to. But the thing is, my team doesn't play in my area, so I don't get to see them play very often. So I usually will listen to them like on I have the NFL Plus app that you can get on your phone, and I can listen to my games on there. Unless they're one of the games that the NFL Plus has, like 2 games I can watch. If it's one of those, I can watch it on there. But otherwise, I don't get to see very many games unless they're on a roll for televised. But I don't have live TV either. I only have streaming services. So we don't have like just local channels. So when a game comes on, I mean, we have them, but they come in really crappy on our TV. So, because they're basically over the air and they just come in terrible. So I rarely watch live TV games. And so they have to be on my app. I don't knock you for that, man. I have 2 kids still living with me at home, and I don't even knock them for it. They're old enough to be living on their own, but I don't hold it against them. I live in an area, one of the highest cost of living states in the country, so it's not cheap. It's really hard to make enough money as an individual living at almost. We live in Washington. So in Western Washington, so yeah, it's really high. California is pretty high. New York, of course, is high, and Western Washington is super high, especially up in the area we live in. Now Tennessee, is it bad in Tennessee? I mean, I'd imagine it's tough everywhere to some extent. It may not be the highest cost of living, but still, it's common now. It's so hard. I mean, houses and stuff go up, but yeah. It's not cheap to get out and live on your own. I tell my kids, look, you're living at home. This is a good time to be saving money. When you work, good chunk of it, just keep putting it away until that day comes when you're able to make that move. Maybe you'll start when you finally get a job that's paying you enough to pay rent. You'll have enough put away so you can do stuff like get a house or whatever. Or if you're just sick of living at home. Which, it happens, right? even if your parents are, yeah. Oh, so you're doing pretty good. No, yeah, there's some states where it's still pretty good to live, but no, around where I live, an apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment costs as much as a 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom house. So as far as your monthly payments, and that's usually over $2,500. That's how expensive it is. A 2-bedroom apartment is like $2,000 to $2,500 a month. It's stupid. This is stupid expensive. So yeah, I don't. It's just the way it is. If you live in a terrible area like this, a lot of places, even though things are cheaper, like where you live, I'm sure, salaries are lower too. You make less money, so it's not like we get paid more money up here, but we can't afford to live up here because it's not as much as the cost of living is. That's why it's nice when you can start getting remote jobs. But a lot of times companies are smart. They don't pay you to their rate. They pay you to your rate. So if they hired somebody in Tennessee, they would pay you a Tennessee average salary. Even if they're paying people here in Washington a Washington average salary. So they like hiring people in low cost states because they can pay them a salary that's relative to their state. So even if it's one of the higher paying jobs for that state, it's still a lower paying job in that state than it is in another state. Oh, wow. I'm sure there's higher paying jobs than pizza at McDonald's. You probably just don't have the skills for those jobs, I'd imagine. But it's I feel you. I know it's tough. I've been unemployed for over a year now, but luckily I had some money, and that's why I'm trying to I am trying to earn. I'm trying to build a game and start building my own business and work off of my own self. So if I can get this game finished and developed and Maybe I can be an independent developer so I don't have to worry about all these companies that are rolling employees in and out the door because of AI. Now, I don't blame AI. AI is a tool, and I think companies are giving AI a lot more credit than it deserves for what it can do, because I've been using it a lot and I'm finding that it's not all that, but it's still enough that companies are going, ooh, we don't need all these people. They're letting all everybody go and they're just giving themselves what they need. And so there's a lot of developers out there, such as myself, who are just, you know, they either have to figure out how to get through the hurdles of all these companies trying to be one of the few that get picked, the few, the proud, the hired, or they're going to have to figure out how to make money on their own. And with AI, the options are better. It helps you to be able to do things. Like when I started working on this project, I didn't know any of the languages I'm working in. I don't know. I'm starting to work in some Python stuff. I do Go. I do all these other languages. I didn't know how to do any of them. I knew a lot of I knew other languages, other things. I know the basics of coding. I've been doing it for 20 years, but I didn't know any of the stuff I'm working on now. I didn't I didn't I didn't go to college. I'm self-taught. Everything I do. I've been working in, like I said, working in IT for 25 years, and I didn't go to college. I taught myself how to do it. But I'll tell you, it's harder now. It's harder now to get work. It's even hard for me. I have all that experience and I still can't get into a company. And I had glowing reviews at my last job for, every year I would get, promotion or raises and good reviews, and I knew my stuff. But then now I'm out there trying to find work, and the stuff I knew apparently nobody wants. And so now I'm just like, okay, it's just such a fast moving industry where you need to stay at the top of the knowledge tree constantly. And if you get into a job where they're working in one thing and you're there for 5 years, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, you're behind unless they're keeping up. And a lot of companies don't keep up. And that's the problem. Yeah, it's really hard. And I've had a number of people come to me and go, do you think it's a good industry to become a developer now? And I'm like, unless you're willing to put in the time and effort to doing your own stuff, building your own software, your own products, I would not recommend it. I would not tell people to do it. I don't think there's enough. I just think there's way too much competition right now. The market's flooded with developers looking for work, and it's just not a good industry anymore. So come up with your own ideas, develop your own applications, and build them yourself, and just get things out there and start making money on your own. Start learning how to market yourself and put your stuff out there. That's what I would tell people. If you can't do that, if you're not willing to learn how to do that and put your own products out, then I would say find something else. At least for now. Maybe in 5 or 6 or 7, 10 years, I don't know. 5 years, maybe. I think it depends on how AI goes. If it truly gets to be good enough to be an actual, what we'll call head down programmer, it may not get better. But right now, it's not great. I've heard Claude 4.5 is pretty good. I haven't used it yet. I'm hoping to start using it soon. But we'll see. I'm going to try it out, see if it's better than what I've been using. But I love Claude, and everybody's saying Claude 4.5 is great. So you like hardware. Hardware is a physical job, as in you have to be present to work on hardware. Unless you're just talking about networking and that kind of stuff, maybe you don't. But well, that's a learning process. Yeah. I used to do a lot of hardware stuff. I mean, I built several PCs over my life, except now I'm using a Surface Pro, so I don't build tablets. But I've built multiple desktops, buy all the parts. I actually started a business back when I first started going. where all I did was order computers for people and I would build them. That's They would come to me and say, "What do you want?" This was at a time when the PC market was massive. It was just getting going. Everybody was buying PCs. It was just everywhere. And now it's not as much. I mean, you got your big players. You can buy parts on Tiger Direct or even on Amazon or whatever and build computers, but it's not what it used to be. There used to be a lot of computer resellers that would sell all these different computer configurations, and people didn't have any clue. They said, "I want to buy a new computer," and everybody was buying computers. So they would call me, and I would ask them, what are you looking for? I mean, how much do you want to spend? What kind of computer do you want? And then I would go out and shop for them, basically buy the parts, buy all the pieces, things they needed, and then I would build the PC and get it to them based on what their requirements were. And I did that for a little bit. So yeah, I did a lot of hardware stuff. That was where I started too. But I don't know. I don't know how well. I mean, does something like that work now? Maybe. But again, you have to learn to market yourself, because that's the trick. There's plenty of people out there who don't know anything about computers who would love to have some help in building a computer. I want a computer. It's maybe an older person who doesn't work in IT, or plenty of middle age, heck, probably even people in their 20s and 30s who just don't do IT, but they need a computer. And maybe they want to be able to play games every now and then, or maybe whatever. They just don't want to go through the hassle of doing it themselves, but they're willing to pay. You do a 20% markup on whatever you do, and you offer up an opportunity to sell those, build a computer for them. I have the same thing. I have the same thing. People will ask me all the time, "Hey, do you know about this or how to fix that?" And it's like, sometimes I know, sometimes I don't. It's like, there's a lot of stuff to know. And yeah, I'm that same person. They come to and go, "Hey, how can you help me with this?" My brothers, my parents, whoever that come to me, I'm the IT guy, even if I don't know everything about IT. But yeah. So this is the place I wanted to add my write logs. And then I will put write logs down here, and I'm going to add some stuff to this. We're going to say name and position. Very good. That's what I want. Nope, that's all I want. And then we're going to say now if write logs, player name, player position, and we're going to also put in an if here. We're going to say if player position CB. It already knows what I want to do because I tried to do it earlier. It was like so what else do I need? I need to know what I want to know what the min. All right, let's do it here. If write logs, if player.position CB, min value, max value, skill name. All right, there you go, man. Nice. That's what I want. Good job, AI. Figured that one out for me. So I know my history has been C# plus SQL. I fancy myself a SQL expert. Not DBA level expert, but I could, as a development expert. I spent over 10 years creating basically a SQL Server application. So SQL is really still out there. It still exists in a lot of places. But unfortunately, most places don't want just a SQL Server developer. SQL, Microsoft SQL. It's a database. It's a relational database, probably the most well-known. Also, probably one of the more expensive ones too. That's why a lot of companies don't use it. Small companies don't like SQL because it's really expensive licensing. You've never heard of SQL? It's so popular that a lot of the other databases out there are called NoSQL, specifically because they're different from SQL. Like Mongo is considered a NoSQL database. I think Postgres is also a NoSQL database. They use a different form. I don't know what CQL is. I don't even know what that is. Never heard of CQL. SQL actually stands for Sequential Query Language. That's what SQL stands for. But it's Microsoft SQL Server. And it's a database. So SQL is Sequential Query Language, but everybody calls it SQL. All right, that's what it stands for. Oh, Common Query Language. I've never heard that, but I mean, I don't know how that's different from SQL. I would imagine. I mean, they're both. I don't know what Common Query versus Sequential Query Language is. I don't know how that's. Again, I've never really worked with CQL before. I guess I would imagine they're probably very similar. But regardless, one's a relational. SQL's a relational database. Mongo database is I forgot. Oh, it's a NoSQL database. It's really weird. I don't like writing queries for Mongo. Mongo, Cosmos. They're basically the same kind of thing. A .ql. Well, there's a few things. I mean, there's also what do you call it? Query something. QGraph. I don't know. I forgot. There's another one that's out there that's a lot of companies are using too. But yeah, I was pretty good with SQL. Oh, really? Honestly, I mean, if you put the wrapper around it, you can talk to any database with almost any front end language, right? But I mean, you can use NextSQL. I mean, I'm using Go as a back end for my application. I'm using Unity as my front end, which I've got parts of Unity done. A lot of I'm hoping to get back into Unity in the next week or so. I've been trying to build my skills and my teams up. I built a team generator which can read all the salaries of all my players, and it builds. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, there's MySQL, and there's MS SQL. I don't think SQL is technically SQL is just sequential query language. It's not a brand, but there's MySQL and MS SQL, which are brands. And then there's probably even another one. But yes, SQL is technically just a term. But a lot of times when people say, you say SQL, you're thinking of, most people will say Microsoft SQL. Unless you're talking about MySQL, which is, structured. Did I say? Okay, you're right. That makes sense. Structured, sequential, whatever. I know it's not the same, but you're right. Structured makes more sense in the sense that it is a relational database. So you have to be a lot more... I guess it makes sense for the terminology. But anyway, a lot of people, when you say, hey, I know SQL programming, they usually think Microsoft SQL. Usually, at least that's my experience. And if you know how to do SQL though programming, you can do Microsoft's or MS SQL, but it's just a simpler language. I'm sorry, MySQL. MySQL is like more broken down version. MS SQL is like a big, but MySQL is free. So people who like to do MySQL, they can download it and run it themselves, but it's not as robust. It's not as capable. Well, relational databases used to be the thing, but now the thing is NoSQL databases like Mongo and Cosmos and others. Cosmos is Microsoft's thing. MongoDB is, I don't know who owns MongoDB. Mongo owns MongoDB. Actually, I had a viewer who came on and told me that he got a job working for the company that makes Mongo database, and he pointed me to some jobs and said he would reference me. I applied for jobs, but they weren't really things I knew very well. They were a lot of things that asked me to know Mongo really well. Well, I've only been working on Mongo for a year, working on this app, and I don't really like trying to write SQL for Mongo. It's kind of, I'm getting better at it. I'm starting to get more familiar, but I still don't. Well, way back when when SQL Server came into existence, Microsoft SQL Server, their only competition really was Oracle. And I didn't even know Oracle. Oracle apparently is still out there, but it's very much like SQL. I think it is still a SQL database. It's just not SQL, because I had to work in it before, and I think I still wrote the same kind of SQL query language, or I still use the same query languages. But I think Oracle's kind of fallen off the radar. All right, where was I? I was going to insert these right logs. All right, let's see what this does. First of all, let's make sure I'm not causing errors. Odds are I am, because I'm adding parameters to my... What is this one? I'll say true here. Okay. And anybody else? What is the problem here? Is it just a matter of saving? Sometimes. What about you? I need to create like a global variable. Well, I can't really do global variable, because if I do that, I'll turn it on everywhere, which will break everything. Oh, yeah, query languages. Queries, oh yeah, it's GraphQL. That's the one I was thinking of earlier. It's called GraphQL, which is also some other weird thing. And I was actually trying to learn that for a bit. I only learned like the very basics of GraphQL. It's a reporting thing. That's how, I guess it's somehow, it's a utility of some kind that I think can read different databases. I don't know. I played with it for a little bit last summer, like a year ago, this last summer. But yeah, there's a few different things like that. Query languages are actually kind of interesting. It's just how you pull data from relational databases, and it's pretty powerful. At least Microsoft's is. I used to like doing it. It's kind of funny. My company that I was working for, I was there for quite a while, long time, and I built an application for them, which they're still using even after I left. I've asked people who are still there. They said, yeah, they keep wanting to move away from it, but they can't. They can't find a tool that does what this app is that I created for them. And I've been wanting to check it every now and then. I'll check like every 6, 8, 10 months, see if they still use it. I'll ask people if they can even, if they're in the same group. Standardized is probably what your common QL is. It's probably um, it's probably what the common, what your common QL. I would think common QL is just what's, standardized. That's what I would think it is, but they don't want to call it. But you're really digging into this. Yeah, I always thought it was fun to be able to. There's so many ways to write queries to get them so that they're optimized. With you putting in indexes and writing out these procedures and such, so that you're optimizing memory and doing all these different things to try to go. But my company, my bosses didn't think what I did was interesting to me. They were always saying, we don't want you to have to do this forever. And I'm like, I'm okay with it. I was enjoying what I was doing. I created website that worked against my application. So I was learning web development, with JavaScript and C#. I was doing scripting with VB script, which wasn't all that great, but it was still cool to be able to manipulate the database using this scripting language. And then it was writing a lot of different cool code and functionality that was manipulating and monitoring the database. I wrote a lot of monitoring tools for this application, and I had all these cool little notifications that would go out through my website, and it tracked people who were using all these reports. And no matter how I explained it to people, all the stuff that this app does, they would always say, "Oh, but you don't want to be doing this all the time." I'm like, "Why not? I was learning a ton." I was loving it, and I get to do cool stuff and create things and and plus I was the boss. Any new person comes along, I was the guy who taught people how to use it and that kind of thing. And then they keep saying they want to get rid of it, so they'd call me into all these meetings, and I would tell them everything that's in it, and then they'd go, "All right, we're going to go find a replacement." I said, "All right." And I did market research a bunch of times to see if there was anything that could replace it, because people, they wanted to get away from it. It was an in-house app. They could never find anything that they were willing to give up all the features that they would lose by switching over to these other tools. Plus, that was a lot of work, because there's over 300, 400 reports that they would have to convert to whatever this new thing is. And nobody wanted to do that because it was too big of an undertaking. And I actually told them, I said, "Look, you want to make the conversion? I'll help you do it. I'll guide it. I'll direct the reports. I'll guide whoever you bring in to do the conversion if you find a tool you want to do. And I'll do it because I already know all the inner workings, and I can help you push everything over to this new thing." But no, I think what it was is they felt like it wasn't worth what they were paying me. I don't know why, because it's an app that they use every single day, and there's 400 people out of, there was a quarter of the company was using reports being generated by this thing, and somehow they just couldn't see the importance in paying me enough to keep doing it. Nice. I hate TypeScript. I hate TypeScript with a passion. Even AI hates TypeScript. I tell you, I created this tool called ClickUp Link. So if you don't know what ClickUp is, it's a project management tool that you can use when you're doing development. It allows you to track your project. And this is it right here. This is ClickUp Link. What ClickUp Link is it's a tool that connects to ClickUp, and it allows you to build to manage your tasks for your project in your code. So I built this thing, and it's all written in TypeScript because that's one of the requirements for creating VS Code extensions. And AI was constantly tripping over all of the type declarations, which is one of the things I do a lot because everything has to be type declared in TypeScript. And it's just, it feels, it's just so rigid of a structure. Yes, it makes things solid, I guess, but it's a very rigid programming. And I prefer just to go with straight. Yeah. You know, a lot of people, I mean, I get it. Developers like it. Some of them, not me, but some of them like it. There's a lot of things that kind of irritate me. One is case sensitivity. I hate case sensitive code unless there's a practical reason to it. Go has one kind of practical reason, which I kind of like, but that's the only scenario where I've ever thought case sensitivity fit. And that's, it uses like the first letter casing to determine the whether it's global or local access or scope, and that I thought was kind of a cool thing that Go does. But otherwise, I hate case sensitivity. I think it's dumb that you could use the same variable with just different casing and it means something totally different. That just feels terrible. Bugs the heck out of me. That functionality shouldn't exist. Yeah, but you know, this day and age, you don't really need that because it's like your tools will tell you what everything is. See, I used to be a person that would have probably really appreciated TypeScript back before technology made TypeScript kind of excessive. For example, you can just put your mouse over anything and it tells you what it is, right? This is it's a system player object. You go down to attempt here. It's an int. I mean, you know what everything is because when it was declared at the beginning, it's there, but I don't have to pass in every single object of every single type. NeoVim. I've heard of NeoVim. I can't remember. I heard somebody, I don't know. I was probably watching a YouTube video. Somebody mentioned it, but I don't know what it is. So right now my only C# is using Unity. Unity's backend is all in C#. So all the code I write for my Unity app is all in C#. I'm also writing my app. My app also has a front end in React. So I have a website version of the app that I've been building too. But now I'm focusing on the Unity part because that's the actual game. Plus I can also put it into a PC version, but the web version is going to be part of it because that's where my my play editor is. Let's go run this thing. I think I got everything going here. So let's see what happens. I wonder if I can I do this? Go to main. I want to run this guy. Let's see what this does. Boo. Oh, what do I need? Oh, do I need year? Have bool mongo. Oh wait, what's missing? Service.go, not enough arguments. Set player skill ratings. I did pass true. Or is it somewhere else too? Oh. Wait. Yeah, I just need to save it. Missing return. What? Oh. It's probably a return false. Oh. I don't know if I need. Do I need to have that twice? I don't know. I guess we'll see if it gives me a weird response. Oh. Wow. Well, you know a lot about your IDE, that's for sure. Okay, okay, that's right. Now it sounds familiar though when you say it's an IDE. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, because somebody was talking about the different like, isn't that like supposed to be a really basic or very, I want to say very simplified? People say it doesn't have all the overhead. Hey, it worked. Didn't show me. It didn't actually print out. I failed to actually get my Champ Bailey was the first one. But what I'm trying to figure out is why is it not? I need some stats. That's what I need. It needs to give me more information. It was supposed to tell me this. Did it not go in here? So that went true. And we got this. But did we not? How come it didn't go inside? It's a lot of detail, man. I don't, all I know is VS Code is owned by Microsoft. And that's the one I use. I have looked at Cursor and Windsurf. People say Cursor is pretty good. I've actually looked at the Claude IDE too. Yeah, a lot of people. It's funny, you know, VS Code's one of those. People either hate it or love it. It's you know, the biggest thing I don't like about VS Code, and I don't know if this is a problem with other tools, but the debugging sucks. I hate debugging in VS Code. But that's really it. I don't mind the rest. I've gotten used to all the UI stuff. Yeah, well, you can't. But that's because Visual Studio uses solutions and proj files. VS Code doesn't use that stuff. So you just open the file. You can open a project from Visual Studio into VS Code, no problem. All you have to do is go into the folder and say open in VS Code, and it'll open and show you all the files and everything that's in there. You just don't have proj files and solution files. So it opens fine. Like I have, in fact, my app right here is, like I said, all of my C# work I do in Visual Studio because I like working in Visual Studio because its debugging is better. Plus, Visual Studio ties in nicely to Unity. It has an automatic interaction to it. But I have my whole. Sometimes I want to work with these other versions of AI, so this is all my VS this is all of my C# stuff. So you see, I have the C# project and the solution and all that stuff, but here they don't mean anything. But I can still go into all of my code and edit all my code in here just like I would anything else. And once I save it, I can build it and run it the same way. Oh, Linux. Why? Well, I don't understand why people torture themselves with Linux or Linux or whatever you want to call it. Tomato, Linux, Linux. No, I know it's Linux, I think. I don't know. But I don't understand why people torture themselves with that. I know, it's more secure. But I've never had a problem with secure. I don't understand. It's torture. It's such a limited application. There's so many things that don't work in Linux. There's so many things that you have to, so many hoops to jump through to make things work in Linux. I can't stand the idea of trying to torture myself with Linux. I have no problems with staying in the Microsoft environment. I just think there's just too many people who, I feel like there's too many people who just hate Microsoft so much that they don't, that they can't see past the forest for the trees. Isn't that what it is? It's something like that. I think I have that mostly right. Since 2022, that's so long ago. 3 years, 2.5 years ago. Well, I don't know what's changed, but I've gone past enough YouTube videos that say setting up this in Linux is, you can do this, do that. I'm like, oh god, why? Just, it's like anything though. I mean, any app, you install it if it's designed to be native in there. I mean, Linux has what do you call it? Emulators, which will let you kind of get around stuff too. Well, that's a good point, I guess, but I still think it's just why. I don't understand the work, the effort that goes into using Linux. I just, it's to me it's a hobby OS. It's people who just I don't know, maybe not a hobby, but let's call it a geeky OS. Only people who really just know their tech and just want to be different and do it because they can. It's Linux. I do Linux because I'm a techie expert and I just do Linux. It's like, really? I don't. But a lot of your points go exactly to where I was saying. It's usually people who are very techy, very nerdy. They like, I don't even like the word nerd. I like geek. I think geek is a better term. Nerd. Okay, so this is my definition of geek and nerd, which totally is jumping the tracks, right? I'm not even talking about the same thing anymore. I'm a geek, but I feel like there are things that I know that some people might think are nerdy. But to me, a geek is somebody who's not so involved in their knowledge, their geeky knowledge, their nerdy knowledge, that they can't relate to outside world. I don't think I think it's the other way around. Nerds are obsessed with what they know. And they know their stuff like inside, outside, backwards, forwards. What they know, but they also don't have the same broad knowledge. They may have a few things that they know great, but it's usually nerdy, geeky stuff. Or not geeky stuff, but like the comics, superheroes, even if it's not that, it might be something like motors and engines. It doesn't have to be the classic stuff. It could be just their love of math or programming or whatever it is. But a geek might know some of those things as well, but they have broader views of things. They they like, well, they oftentimes will like sports, or they like other things. They like doing things that aren't always involved in their, I don't know, their mental things. They like physical things as well as yeah, they're more jacks of all tradesy. Yes, exactly. Jack of all trade, masters of none. They they like doing, they like knowing stuff, but they don't need to know everything about a thing. That's like, that's me. I like to know a lot about the comic stuff, but I don't need to know everything. I'm a huge Superman fan. He's like, that's like my my guy, my superhero guy, right? So, but I don't know every little detail. I'll come, I can meet a Superman nerd, and he could probably fill my head with a bunch of junk I didn't know. But I like to collect stuff. I like what he represents. I just like that aspect of him. But I'm also a sports fan mostly. I mean, I'm interested in most sports. I really like football. Obviously, you can tell from my screensavers and all that stuff that I have going, But um, so there's, and I like programming. I like creating stuff. That's what I like about programming. You know, there's a lot of people out there who think AI is like, it's bad making you a bad programmer, right? That's what people, there are some people who think it's like, oh, but you're not going to learn how to do this, you're not going to learn how to do that. If I could create the stuff I want to create and never program, I'd be okay with that. If I could just guide and direct and focus and have something build what I envision in my head, I would be okay with that. I don't program for the love of programming. I like programming. It's fun. I like the creation aspect of it. I like the outcome of it and watching things come together. But I don't have to have that piece. I'm willing to do what it takes to make the things I want. That's like this game. I want this game to exist because there isn't one out there already that I like. They all suck. They all suck. I'm sorry. They all suck. Now, as a football game, I'm not talking about like a Madden competitor. I don't have the time, the effort, or the skill to make the graphics of what Madden can do, right? One person can't make a Madden game. You can't. That's a horde of programmers kind of thing. But what I'm making is a manager game that's going to have some pretty decent amounts of graphical things going on in it. It's taking a little different tact. It's got a few different features and skill sets that no other game has, and it's not going to be stupid money mongering game. I want to be able to play on the phone and you not have to pay every time you want to do something. I want people to be able to just play the game and play with other people and do that kind of stuff. No, 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 no. That's a totally different thing. Vibe coding to me is like, for one, you can't do vibe coding. You can't do real apps with vibe coding, or at least I haven't been able to see it. People, all these examples of people doing vibe coding on AI. Oh, make a to-do list that keeps track of blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, yeah, okay, it can write that, but that's stupid. That's a simple little, that's a tool. It's an applet is what I call it. That's what I always call those like little tiny tools that people do to get one simple thing done. They're called applets. You don't hear that term very often anymore, but I use it I let it do a lot of my coding, but I keep it contained. In other words, I don't say write my app. In fact, if I had done that, this would be an absolute mess. I've had to rewrite and restructure and refactor my app a lot, even in the things it does do. I've learned a ton on how to write the prompts and make it, especially when I'm trying to follow a format. I use instructions and stuff, which it only follows like half the time. It still does dumb stuff. I keep telling it, never write snake case ever. I don't write my files as snake case. Don't do snake case. And look at my instructions are very explicit. Don't use snake case. And it created all these files. So I can always tell when it's a file that AI created because it'll use snake case. It doesn't do it all the time, but it created that one. Oh no, actually that's my fault. Never mind. That one is mine. There are times when snake case is required, but it's not really snake case because this is technically not snake case. It's got an underscore. Snake case is all lowercase with underscores separating the words. So this is not technically snake case. This is because in order to differ, this is actually a Go thing. Your test files need to be separated by underscore test to not be compiled into the app. Yes. Now, and then there's two kinds of that. Now, here's the thing. And I know this is where this came from, and I don't know why. They have Pascal case and they have camel case. The only difference is the first letter is capital in Pascal case, and camel case, the first letter is lowercase. Now, I believe there was a time when lowercase, camel case, was the norm, because before all of this IntelliSense and all this stuff that existed in code, you would usually put a prefix on your variables, like int or str or just an s or an I or whatever to say what type of object it was. So if you were creating an object that was a string or an int or whatever, or even like it's an object that you were creating, like, you know, it might be car, and you might say car, but the type prefix was always in lowercase. And then the main part of the variable was, you know, it was uppercase letters. So you always knew that the lowercase part was telling you what was the type of the object. And then all the other words in there would be uppercase. So it's basically Pascal case with a lowercase prefix that told you what type of object it is. But nobody does the prefix for object type anymore. You don't need to do it. It doesn't make, there's no reason for it, because you can just, the code will tell you what everything is. So you don't need an I, an S, a T, an R, an object, whatever. But now, because camel case is so standard out there, everybody's using camel case. It's the most common. Camel case is like the most common usage out there. And that's because I think it came up through the years, and all the developers said, use camel case. And you don't see Pascal case very often. I like it because most people do camel case. But does it look right? I mean, really, it's probably because you're just trained to see it. But I mean, how often do you ever see the first word of anything in lowercase in the real world? Pascal case is just one letter difference. That's the first letter. They're all uppercase, every letter. As far as I know, that's the only difference I've been able to tell, unless there's something I'm missing. So it's one letter. And to me, this is Pascal case, and this is camel case. There's no, I mean, it's like, this is, and the only reason this exists is because of the olden days. People took this on because Egyptian style? Do the Egyptian? What is that? How does that go? I don't know. Something like that. Do you remember that was an old song? Old song from the 80s. Same line, starting new line. You know what is it? There is a, I can always forget the name of it. When you basically have like filters and everything, and it's all written in letters, and it's all in one line, and you just see like C arrow dash R comma T equals V kind of, and it's all in one thing, and I forgot what What's that dang term? I forgot what it's called. I hate that language. I hate when people use that because it's so hard to read. it's, it's like you're going, what is this trying to do? You're trying to, what the heck is that? I avoid it. That's why you don't see me doing it. No, no, esoteric. It is esoteric, that's for sure. But no, it's actually a form of programming. Let's see if I can identify it. What is it? What is the form of programming that puts a lot of the definition in a single line using very simple lettering, variables? I don't think, it's probably not a very good word. What is it called? Hello? Oh, it blew up on me. I don't know what happened to Copilot on me today. Copilot just totally died. I mean, it's been blowing up for like all afternoon. I use Copilot all the time now. I didn't use it that much in the past, but oh, I can't even start it now. It's totally blown up. I don't know what happened. What is it called? What is? Dang it! Let's see if you'll probably figure it out before me. Programming called that uses lots of inline commands. Scripting, inline assembly, golf, fluid, chain, shell. Nope. None of these are it. No, it's like God, it's like on the tip of my tongue. it's like no. Usually like variable dot find r equals y. No r. Y. What is this? You could probably identify it because I'm typing it out now. Common r dot t equals 5, something like that. Pointer? Nope, that's not it either. Lambda? No, well, it's not quite it. I don't think it's lambda. It's close. Gosh dang it. I know JavaScript uses it a lot too. But it's called... now I'm going to be driving me nuts until I see the term again. It's called... I can't do it. My brain won't do it. My brain won't come. I don't do it enough to know. But whatever. I can't figure it out. It's very common in JavaScript. JavaScript does it a lot. But it uses a lot of inline garbage. And I've gotten better at reading it. I just hate it. It just looks very awkward. You can say a lot, you can do a lot of stuff in it. It's very powerful, but it's just hard to read because of the very simplistic nature of it. Okay, so I didn't get very far with this. I don't know why. I got the names of my players, but why didn't it run in here? For skill name. Player.all skills. Why didn't it? Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I'm not executing in here, because there's no reason why it wouldn't have printed this. All right, let's look at my data here. No, that's just C++ syntax. Yeah, C++ is weird. No, it's uh, it's actually, I think it's actually called some kind of language format. But let me see. Let's I ask again. No, not quite what I'm thinking of. No, it puts a lot of commands or commands into a parentheses that could be and would often be more readable if it was broken out into multiple separate lines. Inline. I almost I can't do it. Chain fluid, dense, Python, parenthesis soup. Parenthesis soup. Lisp. Wow. Auto Lisp. I didn't even know. Lisp was a language, or at least Auto Lisp was a language that AutoCAD used to use. Nope. Nope. This is very close. It looks kind of similar to this kind of thing, but chain fluent style. But there's a term I'm thinking of where you're doing a bunch of this stuff, where you're adding a lot. But you could do like, I've seen people do it where they had like a whole line full of stuff because you're like nesting stuff in parentheses, and it's called, God, I can't get my brain down. I can't do it. I can't. I'm gonna write it down when I figure it out. And I'm gonna have it. It's called. Come on, brain. Tell me what that word is. It's like I'm sitting there. It's just like right there. It's just like right there. Just right there. And it's common. It's actually very common. Some people really like it. And I'm like, why? Why do you like this? It's so annoying. The same people who like Linux like to use it. So you should know. Just kidding. I mean, it's probably true. It's one of those things that people, I think developers who just like to show off that they know how to write in this thing use. When I'm trying to read code with a bunch of it in there, I'm like, what is this? I can't read this. I mean, I usually figure it out, but it's just one of those things. It's like, why torture? Just write the line out, man. I mean, serious. They'd write like something that could be written in, 5 lines like this, and it would somehow be written out into one single little thing with all these little weird nested stuff on one parentheses, and it's called. Nope. I gotta stop. My brain won't. When it comes to me, I'll say it. But right now, I don't know. But the question is, why am I not getting, why is this printing? My CBs are definitely showing up. But then I think my player pool all right, so this is Champ Bailey. This is my player pool, and they're going for all skills. Defensive skills, general skills, all skills. Now, all skills are definitely not null. But if OK, player dot skill ratings. Minified? Well, yeah. I mean, that's not what it's called, or that's not what I'm thinking of. But I have seen that term. But I don't know if that's, gosh dang it. I can't do it. It won't come up. It just keeps coming to me. So every now and then you'll hear me go, I just start staring off into space because it's like, it's right there. It's called. It's not. I know. It's just. I don't. Is it an actual language or is it a format? I think it might actually be. I don't know if it's a language or a structure. Parenthesis soup, object oriented. Haskell, even modern. See, this looks very similar, where you're doing a lot of stuff like this. But again, that's just calling it nest. It's not. There's a term for what I'm thinking of. Inline nested expressions. But it's not giving me the term that my brain is trying to come up with. Oh. You really. There is a common language term for commands are statements, programming statement that look like this. Look similar to this. None of the above options are what I am thinking of. What are some others? Terms. Inline compression. I know these are all just descriptors. Ternary expression abuse. Idiomatic expression, inline logic, colloquial. I think there's certain commands in it that identify it. And the problem is, without those certain commands, it's not figuring out what I'm talking about. And that's the problem. And without being able to remember what it's called, I can't have it give me a proper example. So I don't think it's not this exactly. It just looks like this. You know, it just has a lot of stuff going on. And this is, but man, it's such a common word. And I know it's very common in programming, and I just can't come up with it. It's just like it's just sitting there. Oh well, one of these days I'll remember it. After I'm offline and I've gone to bed, and it'll hit me in the middle of the night, and I'll be like, "Oh, that's what it is." Ask a different language. Ask somebody else. Ask Claude. Claude's an expert in all things programming. Let's see if Claude's any smarter. No, this is not a proper example of the. Wait, did that? Huh. Language type. I am thinking of, but I am hoping you can tell me what it is. I am using it as a base example. It is a form of language that is often written in complex statements closed in a single set of parentheses. Let's see if Claude can tell me what it is. Lisp. No, it isn't Lisp. No, it's not it. It's called. Maybe it is not a language so much as a format of simplified commands. Yeah, I apparently see this kind of looks close. That's JavaScript. JavaScript, this is not what it is though, but this is kind of what it looks like. Maybe it is lambda expressions. I mean, that's the closest thing in my head that sticks. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but maybe it is actually considered lambda expressions. I feel like that's close. I don't know why it's not triggering the that's it feeling, but that may be it. It may be lambda expressions. But you can see that it's got a whole bunch of weird stuff going on, and you're like trying to figure it out because it nests all these commands onto the end of each other. And it's just, a pain to read. Yeah, I think maybe it is that. I'm gonna let my brain relax and say that's it. it, may, it may not be it, but it feels close enough. So we have all skills. Player to all skills, skill name. But why is it failing? I don't think we're even getting in here. All right, we got to this, which tells me we're not getting to this. Let's try something here. All my CVs, but nothing worked. Didn't do what I wanted. Oh, okay. So we are getting a list of our skills. That's happening. So that is not our problem. But what we're not getting to this. Why are we not getting to this? For skill name, skill value, range, player, all skills. So these all have skills. Ooh, look at those skills. They look really bad. Passing skill. Where's pass defense? See, pass defense skill is broken. That's not supposed to be broken. So I know we have. So it must be a matter of if there's no value, it's failing. Player skill. So the question is, oh. No, I would say skipping though. All right, let's try it again. I'm going to find out where this is blown up. All right, so we're getting in here. We're not having any trouble lining up the skills. All right, let's see here. We're still not getting that second call, so let's just go skill name. Nope. Oh, we are. Oh no, this is. But the problem is, I think we're failing right here. I think our value's not coming in. And I think that's what's happening. Something is blowing up our... We're not getting a skill value, and therefore we can't build a skill rating. But the question is, so the problem is, why do we not have a skill value? So we have past defense skill there, but if I go to all skills and go to past defense, past defense, past defense, past defense skill. It's right there. How are we getting empty? All right, so this is the skills we're hitting. And we are hitting past defense, right? So past defense is right there. And what is going on then? All right, so let's, we know these are hitting. So where is it failing? It must be hitting, fail. It's got to be failing on the value. But why? Nope. There you go. There's the fit. It's still not seeing it. It's not getting to this line. So something is blowing the heck up. It's not even logging it though. It's just blowing up. So supposed to log it. It's supposed to say log.print f. Is it possible it's just exiting? Are we doing something that's... All it does is try to convert this, which is dumb. This is like an over... This is silly. I don't like it, but whatever. So we're going in here. And we are failing. Are we even... All right, just do one more thing. If blah, okay. If not okay, why would this not be okay? Maybe that would be even more weird if it's not even hitting this line. Huh. It's not even getting past this. What the heck is wrong with this thing? What is that player.skill ratings? That is there ever a time? Does this ever get hit? All right, let's just see what this does. It's going to be, if it does hit anything, it's going to be like 1900. 1900 lines. I want to see if anything's hitting this. Huh. Nope. if okay. If equals okay blah. Okay, why do we have if okay blah not okay? What is the not okay? I think it's saying if okay is not okay. What does that mean? Oh, basically it must be saying if it's not set already. Oh, I wonder if that's the reason this is doing this. I, I wonder if that's saying if it's looking to see if it's got a value. It's getting the rating, and not okay would be, you know, I wonder if not okay means it's not set. What if I put this out here? Let's see, wait, go like this, put that back, because I don't want it for everybody. Then we'll go like this, go like this. And instead of skill name, let's put this. And this is probably what, a V? Huh. Okay. So we do got values in there, but none of them are getting past. Okay, so they have values, and I think that's the problem. I think it's not allowing them to go in and just reset them. It can't rebuild them. So I think that might be my problem. I need to allow this to rebuild it. I'm pretty sure if I take this if statement out, it'll just do it. Let's see. I didn't. But you know what? I think it might be lambda expressions. It might be lambda. As I stare at it enough times, I'm starting to think maybe it is lambda expressions. I don't know. It's not triggering the aha, that's it in my head. But the more I think about it, the more that might be what I'm thinking of. It might actually be it. I don't know why I thought it was some other term, but that might actually be what I'm thinking of. Oh, I didn't save that. Let's comment this out for now. And I think I may have fixed my problem here. Let's see. Oh, I gotta save this. Ah, it's doing stuff. I mean, it's doing a lot of stuff, but it's reading the lines I expected it to read now, which means it's actually writing crap. So hopefully it's updating things correctly. Hopefully it's updating and not just writing a whole bunch more stats and doing it twice. That would suck. Yeah, you know, I'm not a big fan of them either. I do use them sometimes. This stuff here, these aren't, these are type, variable types. They're referencing these items. Um, so that's like a string, and then you can put like F for float. I don't know what like the decimal things are. Like I think that might be how many decimal points you're allowing it to display 0.4F on these ones here. So you're allowing zero point 0.4 decimals of a float. So you don't want it to have infinite, a whole bunch of stuff. Um, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of single letter variables either. I for iterating, yeah. Well, I for iterating, I for index. Those are oftentimes what they'll use. Um, Common things people use are X, because X is just considered just whatever. It's a variable. So they're just going to take whatever comes in, so whatever X is. But I'm not, yeah, I like descriptive names. I like, but I like succinct descriptive names. I don't like long words. When they start getting out really long, I start figuring out different ways to shorten them. I don't mind shortening words. I don't like, I like, I'm getting more where I can get away with, like, a lot of times with like field goal accuracy here. I started off just going FGACC. But I go, all right, I'll put, well, you know what actually happened, I think, is I was working with AI and AI kept spelling my words out. It would change my variables and just spell the words out. So I would shorten them and it would spell them out. And eventually I just say, screw it. I told it to stop changing my variables, but it did it anyway. I just stopped fighting it. Sometimes, every now and then, I'll tell it to put it back the way it was. But oftentimes, I won't spell out a word if the variable starts getting too long. I shorten them a lot. I don't mind abbreviated words, but I like descriptive. I can usually figure out what they are. So it does look like it actually ran through this time. So my fix did work. Let's go see what this actually looks like. See if it did anything positive for me. All right, so let's go down to ratings. All skills and ratings. We still didn't get a valid rating though. See, this is the problem. My scale max. All right, I think I kind of thought of that before. I think I know what the problem is. I have, by default, all of my skills declare a scale min. And that's so that all of my players that don't have stats can get the scale min when they come through. I wasn't defining a scale max. And I think on some of these stats, that's breaking stuff. I don't know why scale max works for some of these, but for others, I think there's a couple of them that scale max isn't getting set. See, this one doesn't do it. Tackling, which are two of the problem ones I have, aren't getting max. And then there's, I think there's a couple more. Oh, these are the players. So there might be different ones. But tackling and pass defense, for some reason, need their scale max to be identified. And I'm not getting it identified. I don't know why some of them are identifying and some of them aren't, because I didn't actually set scale max in a lot of places. But I think I know that. I think that's the problem. You built a clicker game. What do they call those? Idle games? Um, I I don't know. I've played a couple of them. I think they're not my thing, but I don't I don't like my finger getting sore from just tapping or mousing. But I know they're pretty common. Well, it's no, I would more consider, yeah, I think that's why there's a little bit of nomenclature a confusion. I call games where you do nothing AFK games. But if you really looked online for AFK games and idle games and clicker games, they tend to, there's a lot of overlap in the way games and their terminology. For one, very few AFK games, if any. I don't even know if there really are very many AFK games that truly exist and are truly AFK games. I want to build one. In fact, I have a design for a true AFK game. There used to be AFK games were actually kind of a thing back when PCs just got going. And they literally, you do absolutely nothing to play the game. You're not even playing the game. You would turn it on and it would sit in the corner of your screen. You might do something simple like pick what kind of character you are, what is he, his main bits. And then he would go, and then that's it. And it would just start going, and it would run. You would just let it run there. It would sit there and run for it would run forever. You would just go look at it, and sometimes you could stop it, and it would tell you what your current level is, what he's accomplished, what he's done, little basic stuff like killed 450,000 monsters and gained 9 million experience points and has 400 gold and died 3 times, and just basic stuff. And then when you hit click again, it starts, and it would just start running again. And you could actually watch it. You could expand it and just watch. He's moving, blah 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 blah, and he encounters a dragon, and he's in a fight with the dragon, and he's doing this stuff with the dragon, and the dragon kills him, and he's reborn in camp, and just goes on. It's all of it. There's true AFK game. You did nothing, and you would just check on it every now and then. But I have a design plan for an AFK game, and if I was actually really good with graphics, and maybe as I learn more, I want to build a true AFK game for modern gaming. And here's my concept. Like a lot of them, you would be able to build. You would start with like a single character, and he goes off on a mission like an RPG would, right? He would just go off and start doing stuff. You could tell him, you set him up what he wants to do, and the only interactions you would have would be his communications with you. So you would get push notifications. You set up Ignok Kennison goes out for to start his missions, or start fighting. He's exploring, and he fights a goblin and a kobold, and he takes a certain amount of damage. And every now and then he meets up with a so and so person, and he sends you a push notification and says, "This character wants to join me. He's sitting with me at camp," and you can go, "Oh, okay." And you you check the character out, and you can click back, send a message, say, "Let him join you," and they go off together. And you could actually have it running in a corner, like you would in the old days when the AFK runs, except it would have graphics. Your two guys would be walking through wherever, the forest, and it would show you the monsters they meet and what they fight. And if they get wounded too much, it would automatically stop. You would be able to go in and have settings for your game, like when to go back to town, when to camp, how much damage you're willing to take, how much risk you're willing to risk. And you can slowly build up your party. They would meet new people. They can join and grow until the party maxes out. And then other characters who you might join might go back to town, and you can build up a second party. And that second party would be one that would go out to, something happens to your first party, they would go out and try to rescue the second party. So they'd all connect, and you would get items that maybe are unidentified, and it would tell you about these items that they've picked up. Do you want them to sell it? Do you want them to do stuff? Can you identify it? Maybe your party's having gold problems, and you need to sell some stuff and send them gold. Anything to try to help your party out. You could tell your wizards and your medics how often to heal, and what kind of fighting plan to use. What kind of, you could have your fighters tell them what you want them to target, what their main objectives are, like protecting guys or doing whatever. But when they go out, they're on their own, and you just get notifications of like, hey, your party's in camp. They had a rough day. They killed this many monsters. So and so died. They had to go back to town to resurrect them. You just have this whole little story going on with these guys, and you can check in on it just by looking at it, and you'll see where they're at, what they look like, what they're picking up, and it would just be a true AFK game. But you have some interaction in that if they need something or something has happened, you'll get push notifications that you can go in and help them or set up. And basically, you're like this overlord with a crystal ball, looking in on them, and they can reach out. You're almost like playing God, right? So that if they have an issue, they could I don't want to say pray, because they could pray to you and you're like a god, and they need your assistance, and you can decide how much you're going to help them and how much you're not going to help them, and they just go on their day. And you would get like notifications, prayer received, and you go look at the prayer and go, sorry, I can't help you with that. I'm not omnipresent. I can't, but you can respond and go into the game, or you can maybe you'll even have like some kind of text response you can send to it, and it'll go back and it'll feed into the game, and, oh, hey, our prayer's been answered. We got gold waiting for us back in town. That kind of thing. It'd be kind of, that's the true AFK game, where you don't have to be there, but you can be as much as you want to. Conway's Game of Life, huh? Huh, that looks interesting. Now, again, my game wouldn't be true AFK, but it would be an actual game, though. Because a true AFK game is really not a game at all, right? You don't really do anything. It's more like a live RPG, or a what do you call it? A live story RPG. You're just watching and hearing, and it tells you stuff that's going on, and you don't do anything. That's a true AFK, and it's really not a game, though. If you want it to be a game, you have to have some interaction. But to be truly a game, to be an AFK at all, it has to be able to run even if you're not there, and it doesn't need you. And I'm talking about from the get-go, from like so many of these AFK games out there, you have to play quite a bit before it starts becoming AFK. The more advanced you get, like say for example, there's a couple of them, I have them on my phone, where they'll go out. You basically have to play like 5 or 10 hours of building your guys up. You go out, you buy something, you advance, you buy, you advance, you buy, you advance, you buy. But eventually things get so expensive that the gap in being able to advance gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So you may go from needing a few hundred points, and you just do it, and then you have to do all the leveling up. So if your guys get to the point where they level up or they get some things, they won't go anymore. It basically stops until you go and do something to get them to that next stage, and then they can keep going. And that gap just gets bigger and bigger, and eventually it's running, over longer periods of time. Or you might even get it to the point where it runs for hours or days without your interaction, but that's only after lots of play. You're involved a lot. And once you get there, maybe, but it's really boring and tedious, because that time when they're going out and doing stuff is, you're not needed at all. I mean, there's no interaction at all. They just go out. We hit a wall. We can't do anything. You want to come and do something? And then you go play for a bit. So there's no anything that's going on. Rather than the players doing their thing and then just saying, hey, uh, we need some gold. We're dying a lot here. We're struggling to move on. And then you can kind of come in and you can either send them gold or maybe send some kind of command that has them swap out players, or maybe you have them go back to town to buy some equipment. They can do this and say, yeah, go back. You could all in the settings. You can say how often should they go back and try to shop for stuff. What kind of quest should they take on? What do you want them to focus on? All that kind of stuff. And then the characters will go out and try to do the things that you gave them as their parameters of performance. And then they just do it. And you can kind of see what's happening and maybe kind of tweak it every now and then, how you want them to behave. And I think, yeah, so you're more like playing a god whose presence is up to you. How often are you going to be involved? Your guys might go slower or they might go faster. If you're helping out a lot, you can do more for them. Maybe it's a game that allows for what do you call it? Microtransactions. I hate microtransactions, but you could maybe buy some better things to help them progress. But I don't know. I've never liked play to win or pay to play stuff, so maybe not. But you could still maybe give them some parameters on how to spend their money. Games should have some way to make money. That's always good. But trying to figure out ways to do it so that you allow people to, like phone games are often free, right? Free to play, which aren't really free. But I don't know. I just don't like games that force people don't use the word free to play, the phrase free to play, unless it's actually free to play. That's my feeling. Anyway, I'm gonna call it. I think I know what the problem is. I have to get max set for these. I got to figure out why some of them are not, but I don't think I want to do that right now. It's getting late. What part of the country do you live in, man? You said Tennessee, right? So you're 3 hours later there, man. It's like, what, 2 o'clock? 2 o'clock for you? Dude, get some sleep. I need to get some sleep. I got things to do. I got to get up in the morning. So it's only 2 hours? Huh. I thought you were 3 hours. Because we're on the West Coast, so I would have thought you would have been. I just thought Tennessee was closer to the East Coast than to the Midwest, but I guess I'm wrong. My brain is pushing it over. You're further. Tackle. What is it called? Tackling? Oh, no, that's not it. Function, junction, what's function? That's test. All right, so something in here is not creating a max. And I don't know why some of them create max and some of them don't. Could be that I'm not getting, because I got mins. Do I only have one player who's got a? See, that's weird. It could be that I'm doing it based on position, and maybe none of the CBs have valid, because they're all getting mins and they're not getting maxes. Oh, I wonder if that's it. Since I'm only going based on CBs, and CBs only have a min. I don't know why the max wouldn't be the min, though. They'd both be the same. So why do we have an inf? Huh. tackling. They should have tackle skill, though. All CBs should have a tackle skill. So I got to review what's going on with these positions. Tomorrow I'll have to look at what's going on with these stats. Some of these guys may not have the stuff they need. That's all I can figure. So, which means I have to go in. I have to go look at the stats, and I go look at Champ Bailey. He has no sacks, but he has tackles. See? It's a mystery. He's got no sacks. He's got tackles. Which means this value is not 0. Which means he does go to here. So why didn't that get saved? Huh. Don't know. I'm going to hit it, man. I'm getting tired. I have to get up early, do my workout, get back to work again tomorrow. I'm doing it every day. Sometimes I don't stream. Well, I don't really stream every day. I try to stream for a little while every day, but sometimes I just got to heads down and get some progress. But hey, Crillionaire, thanks for stopping by, man. It was an interesting way to say hi when you arrived, but it's been good talking to you, man. You have a good one. God bless. Till next time.